This word of Adonai came to Yirmiyahu the prophet concerning the Plishtim before Pharaoh attacked Azaz. Here is what Adonai says. Water is rising out of the north. It'll become a flooding stream, flooding the land and all that's in it, the city and its inhabitants. The people are crying out loud in alarm. Everyone in the land is weeping at the thunderous pounding of the stallion's hoofs, at his rattling chariots' rumbling wheels. Fathers fail to turn back for their children. Instead, their hands hang limp, because the day has come for destroying all the Plishtim, for cutting off from Zor and Zidon the last of their allies. For Adonai is destroying the Plishtim, the remnant from the island of Caphtor. Azaz is shaved bald, Ashkelon reduced to silence. Those of you who remain in their valley, how long will you go on gnashing yourself? Oh, sword of Adonai, how long till you can be quiet? Put yourself back in your scabbard. Stop, be still. How can you be still? For Adonai has given it orders against Ashkelon, against the seacoast. He has assigned it its task there. Concerning the Ma'ov, this is what Adonai Zvaot, the God of Israel, says. Woe to Nevo, for it is ravaged. Kiriatayim, disgraced and captured. Misgah is put to shame and distressed. In Ma'ov, nothing is left to praise. At Heshbon, they plotted her downfall. Come, we'll cut her off as a nation. You too, Madmian, will be silenced. The sword pursues behind you. Agonized cry for Heronium, ruin, terrible devastation. Moab has been shattered. The cries of her young ones are heard as they ascend the slopes of Luchit, weeping bitterly as they climb on the road down to Heronium. Shrieks of destruction ring out. Flee! Save your lives! Be strong like the Teramisk in the desert, because you trust in the deeds of your wealth. You too will be captured, together with his priests and princes. Chemosh will go into exile. A destroyer will descend on every city. No city will escape. The valley too will perish. The plain will be laid waste, as Adonai has said. Give Moab wings, so it can fly and get away. Its cities will become ruins, with no one to live in them. A curse on him who does the work of Adonai carelessly. A curse on him who withholds his sword from the blood. Moab has lived at ease from his youth. He is wine selected on its dregs, not decadent from jar to jar. He has not gone into exile, therefore it retains its own bad taste. Its aroma remains unchanged. So the days are coming, says Adonai, when I will send my people to tilt him. They will tilt his jars, emptying them and shattering the wine flask to pieces. Moab will be disappointed by Chemosh then, just as the house of Israel was disappointed by Beth-El, a god in whom they had put their trust. How can you say we are heroes, warriors, valiant in battle? They are ravaging Moab, attacking its cities. Its best young men go down to be slaughtered, says the king whose name is Adonai Zvaot. Moab's ruin is coming soon. Its disaster speeds on swiftly. Pity him, all of you who are near him, all of you who know his name. Say, how the mighty scepter is shattered, that splendid staff. Descend from your glory and sit in thirst, daughter living in Devon. For Moab destroyer advances on you. He has destroyed the stronghold. Stand by the road and watch, inhabitant of Aurora. Ask the man fleeing and the woman escaping, what is going on? Moab is disgraced, indeed destroyed. Wail aloud, shriek, proclaim it by Anan, that Moab has been laid waste. Judgment has come on the plain, on Halon, Yatzah, Mifa'at, Divon, Nivo, Biet Deblatim, Kiryatayim, Biet Gamul, Biet Mon, Kriot, Bitzrah, and all the cities in the land of Moab, far and near. Moab's strength is cut down, his arm is broken, says Adonai. Because Moab boasted against Adonai, make him so drunk that he wallows in his own vomit, becomes a laughingstock. After all, Israel was a laughingstock for you. He didn't associate with thieves. Nevertheless, whenever you spoke of him, you shook your head. You will live in Moab. Leave the cities and live on the rocks. Be like the dove who makes her nest in a hole in the rock in the mouth of a cave. We have heard the pride of Moab. So very proud is he, presumptuous, proud, conceited, so haughty his heart. I know what meager ground he has for his arrogance, says Adonai. His boasting has nothing behind it, and it hasn't accomplished a thing. Therefore I will wait for Moab. For all Moab I cry. For the people of Kir-Heres I lament. I will weep for you, vineyard of Sibimah, more than I weep for Yazir. Your branches spread to the sea, reaching as far as the sea of Yazir. On your summer fruits and on your vintage, the destroyer has fallen. Gladness and joy have been removed from productive fields in the land of Moab. I have stopped the flow of the wine from the vats, and the shouts of those who tread the grapes. Those shouts of joy are stilled. The cries from Heshbon to Elilah are heard as far away as Yachatz. Those from Zor to Horonaim are heard in Eglat Shlishiah. For even the waters of Nimrim have become a desolate waste. Moreover, says Adonai, in Moab I will put an end to anyone's sacrifices on high places or offering incense to his gods. This is why my heart is moaning for Moab like funeral flutes. Why my heart moans for the men of Kir-Heres like funeral flutes. For the wealthy they produced has vanished. Every head has begun shaved bald. Every beard has been clipped short. Gashes are on every hand. Sackcloth around every waist. On all the housetops of Moab and all its open places, lamentation everywhere. For I have broken Moab like a pot and nobody wants it, says Adonai. Wail, how shattered is Moab, how shamefully in retreat. Thus will Moab become an object of ridicule and distress to all its neighbors. For here is what Adonai says, look, don't he swoop like a vulture, spreading his wings against Moab? The cities are captured, the strongholds are seized. On that day the heart of Moab's warriors will be like the heart of a woman in labor. Moab will be destroyed as a people, because he boasts against Adonai. Terror, pit, and trap are upon you. People of Moab, says Adonai. Whoever flees from the terror will fall into the pit, and he who climbs up out of the pit will be caught by the trap. For I will bring on Moab, the year of her punishment, says Adonai. In the shadow of Heshbon, the fugitives stop, exhausted, for fire breaks out from Heshbon, a flame from inside Sicon, consuming the sides and tops of the heads of Moab, noisy boisterous. Woe to you, Moab! Chemoshes people are doomed, for your sons have been taken away captive, and your daughters led into captivity. Yet I will end Moab's exile in the Acharit Hayim, says Adonai. This is the judgment of Moab. Concerning the people of Ammon, here is what Adonai says. Has Israel no sons? Has he no heir? Then why has Milcom inherited Gad? For his people settled in its cities. Therefore, says Adonai, the days are coming when I will sound the battle alarm against Rabbah and the people of Ammon, and that will become a tale of ruin. Her villages burned to the ground. Then Israel inherit from them who disinherited him, says Adonai. Well, Heshbon, for Ai is doomed. Cry out, O daughters of Rabbah. Wear sackcloth and mourn, running here and there among the sheep pens. For Milcom will go into exile, together with her priests and officers Why do you take such pride in the valleys, your well-watered valleys, rebellious daughter? You trusted in your riches and thought, who can attack me? I am bringing terror on you, says Adonai Elohi Svaot. From every side, each of you will be driven out headlong, with no one to gather the fugitives. But afterwards I will bring back the exiles of Ammon, says Adonai, concerning Edom. This is what Adonai Svaot says. Is there no wisdom left in Teman? Have her wise men forgotten how to counsel? Has their wisdom vanished? Flee! Turn back! Hide yourselves well, you who live in Dedan. For I am bringing calamity on Esau. When the time for me to punish him comes, if grape pickers came to you, they would leave no grapes for gleaning. If thieves came at night, they would destroy until they have satisfied. So I, for my part, have stripped Esau bare. I have exposed his hiding places. He will not be able to hide himself. He is doomed. Sons, brothers, neighbors, so that he has no more. Leave your orphans. I have kept them alive. Let your widows trust in me. For this is what Adonai says. Those who do not deserve to drink from the cup, I will have to drink it anyway. So should you go unpunished? No, you will not go unpunished. You will certainly drink it. For I have sworn by myself, says Adonai, that Betrosa will become a ruin and an object of astonishment, reproach, and cursing, and all its cities will be ruins forever. I have heard a message from Adonai. A messenger is sent among the nations, saying, gather together and march against her. Prepare for battle. Here, I will make you least among nations, the most despised people. Your capacity to terrorize has deceived you and made you arrogant. You made your home in the rocky crags and seized the top of the mountains. But even if you build your nest high as an eagle's, from there I will drag you down, says Adonai. Edom I will become an object of horror. Everyone passing by will whistle in astonishment at all its disasters. It will be like the overthrow of Sodom and Amorah and their neighboring towns, says Adonai. No one will settle there anymore. No human being will live there again. It will be like a lion coming up from the thickets of the Yarden against the strong settlement. In an instant I will chase him away and appoint over it whomever I choose. And who is like me? Who can call me to account? What shepherd can stand up to me? So hear the plan of Adonai that he has devised against Edom, and his purpose that he will accomplish against those who live in Teman. The least of the flock will drag them away. Their own pasture will be in shock at them. The earth quakes at the sound of their fall. Their cry can be heard from the sea of Soph. Like a vulture, he will soar, swoop down, and spread out his wings against Bozrah. On that day, the hearts of Edom's warriors will be like the heart of a woman in labor. Concerning Damascus, Hamath and Arpad are confused, having heard bad news. They dissolve in fear, like the churning sea which cannot calm itself. Damascus, weakened, turns to flee. Trembling has seized her. Anguish and pain take hold of her, like the pains of a woman in labor. How can a city so praised be deserted, a city that gave me so much joy? Therefore her young men will fall in her squares, and all her nations will be silenced on that day, says Adonai Svaot. I will light a fire inside Damascus walls, which will consume the palace of Ben-Hadad. Concerning Kedar and the kingdoms of Hatzor, which Nebuchadnezzar king of Bavel struck, Adonai says, set out, march against Kedar, plunder the people of the east. They will seize their tents and their flocks, their tent curtains and all their equipment, their camels. Their camels too they will take for themselves and shout at them. Territory in every direction, terror in every direction. Flee, leave your homes, hide yourselves well. You live in Hatzor, says Adonai. For Nebuchadnezzar king of Bavel has devised a plan against you. He has formed a scheme against you. Get up, march on a nation at ease that lives secure, says Adonai. They have neither gates nor bars. They live in isolation. Their camels will be booty. Their many cattle spoiled. I will scatter to the winds those who shave the sides of their heads. From every direction I will bring their disaster on them, says Adonai. Hatzor will be a place of jackals to live desolate forever. No one will settle there anymore. No human being will live there again. This is the word that Adonai came to Yirmiyahu the prophet concerning Eliam at the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Yehuda, Adonai Sabaoth says, I will break Eliam's bow, mainstay of their might. I will bring against Eliam the four winds from the four quarters of the sky, and scatter them to all the winds. There will not be one nation to which dispersed of Eliam will not come. I will break Eliam before their foes, before those who seek their lives. I will bring disaster on them. My burning anger, says Adonai, I will seek the sword to pursue them until I have finished them off. I will put my throne in Eliam and destroy their king and leader, says Adonai. But in the Arkaret Hirim, I will bring back the exiles of Eliam, says Adonai.